My boyfriend admitted he was my stalker before we dated. I am female, 26, and my boyfriend is male, 25. He is the kind of man out of a dream. He's a provider. He pampers and spoils me, emotionally supports me, makes me feel like I'm a goddess. Everything has been great between us, and I could see myself spending my life with him. With all that being said, he admitted he was my stalker before we met. This started when I found a Reddit thread about a woman being stalked by her boyfriend prior to their relationship, which sounded oddly familiar. I jokingly said that it reminded me of him and playfully asked if he stalked me. He confessed that he had. He was designing a website for my employer. At the time, I worked at a women's clothing boutique. I modeled for the brand, which is where he found modeling photos of me and admitted he couldn't get me out of his head. He said my eyes in the photos felt like I was looking at him through the screen. He proceeded to go to the store where I worked to find out my information from my coworker. He then proceeded to find my Instagram, dive deeply into it, and then start to sit outside of the store to watch me. He said it was only a one-time thing, but I think he may be lying. There were other signs, like knowing information about me without me telling him, and his openness to confessing his deep obsession with me. He admitted he keeps a box under his bed with things he's taken from me. Small, insignificant objects like used napkins, tissues, hair ties, etc. Things that he keeps to remind himself of me. I have to admit, I find this intriguing and almost charming that he is so head over heels for me. I'm coming here to see if I've lost my mind for feeling this way. I also am a tiny bit creeped out, but I'm so in love it really overpowers that feeling. But how much of my love could potentially be manipulated? We're best friends and I've never been happier, but I'm hoping for an outside opinion. I was cheated on for the first time, so, I guess I'm coming on here because I don't really have anywhere else to go. To make a long story short, but still long, I met this guy a couple of months ago. He was the one. For me, anyway. I had all the love in the world for him, you know. Every accomplishment he made had me so proud, and I was so enamored with the way he carried himself and his family and his friends. He was telling me all these things early on into us dating, saying we'd get married, joking about it all the time, saying we'd have kids in a farmhouse and we'd do what we'd love together. That he loved me so much. He never wanted to lose me. I was the one. My friend later told me he lead me on and he love-bombed me, and I didn't want to call it that. I was so in love with him. I didn't want to think he had any malicious intent. I was struggling to get on my feet. I'd just been in a bad situation with someone else in my life, left my job for more opportunities, and I thought here he was, supporting me. He got me through so many tough times. It was too good to be true, though. I'd barely gotten back on track when out of nowhere he blindsided me and dumped me. He'd gotten back in touch with this person he knew, and behind my back they'd been really into each other, but when he dumped me, he told me it was because of him, not me. Commitment was too much. I shouldn't have gone into this with you so soon, etc., etc. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I thought he was so good and kind and deserving of a good life, with or without me. But I was heartbroken even so. I couldn't sleep without nearly puking and having nightmares for 2 weeks. It was bad. I had a constant ache in my chest and tears in my eyes nearly 24/7. I was just so devastated because no relationship before him had ever hurt me this bad. I wanted to marry him. And then it gets worse. I found out a week ago he's been dating her since we broke up, and that he had in fact been cheating, and he's happy, thriving. He has no remorse whatsoever. He hasn't said a word to me since. But my self-esteem is gone. My confidence is gone. The girl is so pretty, so much prettier than I am. And I know that she knew, and that she convinced him to do it in my heart, and that none of the love he had for me was real. I also know that it wasn't my fault. All the same, I feel like I will never recover from it because despite how angry I am, how hurt, and how writing this is making me want to hurl all over again, I still love him and all I want is for him to feel sorry. He's never going to. I am the fool. I am the one still struggling. I am the one who will never get out of this city and do something great, but I know with all his talents that he will. I guess that's the price of loving someone who was better than you. My boyfriend is getting married. Yep, my boyfriend is getting married to another woman. Background. We met in the workplace, both managers, and we've kept our relationship on the DL at work. We're both Muslim. I'm Balkan and he's Afghan. Neither of us are super conservative. We spend a lot of time together, dates after work, on days off, morning messages, phone calls, etc. He's been super off this past week with me, constant mood swings, phone calls have been super sexual, etc. Today at work, he said we had to have a talk after work. He then proceeded to tell me that his family had found him a match and that he'd be getting married. Surprisingly, the sadness hasn't hit me. Not sure if it eventually will hit me like a truck. But I think during the conversation, a lot of his true colors were also revealed, that he hid extremely well. He's got insane trust issues and will check my phone occasionally to see if I've been messaging guys. I've had to cut all my male friends off for him too. He's even accused me of sleeping with our boss, who is happily married with kids and has known me since I was a teen. During the conversation, he asked me if I had been seeing anyone else. I was honest and open that I hadn't. He said that it was good to hear, but that his trust issues didn't allow him to believe that. I proceeded to ask the same question, and he said, yeah, but not like you, basically said that there were a few girls he was meeting and messaging, but the most that would happen is fingering or head. In all honesty, I'm feeling sympathy for his future wife, as during the conversation he admitted that he wasn't sure if he'd even be able to remain faithful to her. The only thing I am worried about is he's technically supposed to go to another work site in 3 months' time, and I'm really praying that that is what will happen. I don't know if I'll be able to handle all the congratulations from colleagues or the my wife and wedding talks, as no one at work knows that he was my boyfriend, and I'm worried I won't be able to handle it. I'm just hoping the arranged marriage takes a while at least, until he's out of the workplace, because right now my thought process is out of sight, out of mind. My boyfriend is not in love with me. The other day, my boyfriend and I were talking and he was just acting distant with me the whole entire time. And I guess I had an idea why he was acting distant because something a little disappointing acted a couple of minutes before. I asked him if he was okay, and he kept on telling me, yes, and he just continued to act distant, which I understand. Then I asked him more about it, and he told me that he feels like sometimes when he tells me that he loves me, it doesn't feel real. He told me that he knows he loves me and that he doesn't know what love feels like. He told me that 40% of the time when he tells me I love you, it just doesn't feel authentic. He told me that he doesn't know what love feels like because he's never received it from anyone besides me, but he knows that if there is someone he loves, it would be me. I just feel so upset because he also said that sometimes when we go on dates or when he gives me gifts, it just kind of feels inauthentic to him. I feel like he might love me, but he's not in love with me, and I don't know what to do. I told him that I might not be the right person for him, and he told me that I am the right person for him, but at the same time, he feels like he just does the things he's supposed to be doing as a role of a boyfriend. I don't know, I'm just so upset I don't want to lose him, and he told me that he doesn't want to lose me too, and I want to give it time for us to work on it, but I don't know, I'm just so sad. I wanted to get this off of my chest.